Welcome to the Mickey B. Fresh Patreon. And in Patreon here, we cover Flare, we cover Songbird, and we cover the XRP Ledger. We will cover other DeFi ecosystems as they are relevant. But I'm going to give a broad overview of the Flare network and what they're trying to build. This was recorded on July 1st, so keep that in mind when you're listening to it. We will update in the future. So what is Flare Network? Why did they change their tagline to connect everything from unlocking value? Flare is a new layer 1 blockchain which enables secure, universal interoperability between chains, scaling the use of blockchain by enabling all digital assets and on-chain information to flow freely. This is a cross-chain interoperability with the security of multi-chain. So what does that mean? So what is the security of multi-chain? So think like Polkadot, how there's a bunch of parachains, they all run the same protocols. Cosmos, they all run the same IBC protocols, so they have the same security. But when you try to connect Polkadot to Cosmos, you don't have that security. Flare is able to maintain that security with Layer Cake. So they're able to build, instead of 4,950 bridges between the top 100 blockchains, they're able to use one smart contract with each blockchain to be able to connect all top 100s. And this is a breakthrough. And why is this possible? This is possible because of the state connector system, which we're going to get into. But you could build multi-chain with a single deployment. Developers are able to build truly interoperable dapps that access the value, information, and liquidity of multiple chains with a single deployment on Flare. Now that's very powerful. We have not even seen dapps ever that in the history of crypto that have been able to do this. So this is something completely new. So instead of having Avalanche, for Aave, for example, on Ethereum, and then on Avalanche, and then on Solana on another network, you don't have to do that with Flare's Layer Cake. You're able to do one deployment on Flare that's able to connect to all these other networks. And this is very powerful. This is why Flare is like a next gen. I call it a 4th gen blockchain. So it's developer friendly, layer 1. Flare includes an industry standard Ethereum virtual machine EVM, which makes for easy porting of ETH tooling and simple coding using Solidity. Any existing dApp developed for the EVM can be very easily launched on Flare. Now, Flare is not dependent on the Ethereum mainnet or anything to do with Ethereum. It just uses the Ethereum virtual machine. So it uses Ethereum standards. It has the same Ethereum ERC20 standard contracts. Now it could use any different ones, but it's not dependent on it. But that is the industry standard. So this makes it easy for developers to come over to Flare and build. So we'll see dApps that are just on Flare only, and then we'll start to see decentralized applications, which stands for dApps, on multiple networks. And they'll be able to tap into the underlying networks themselves from one single deployment. So this is because of the state connector they built. This is the novel breakthrough technology. It's basically an attestation system. It's like one of 2 Oracle systems that they built. So it captures the state of any open system. The state connector is a new core Web3 protocol that allows the state of any open system, whether blockchain or non-blockchain, to be proven to smart contracts on Flare. Supported by decentralized attestation providers, the state connector is both faster and safer than any existing solution out there to date. So nobody has been able to create a solution like this that anchors down to a layer 1 blockchain. So this goes beyond Chainlink in that it's an attestation network. So this is for deterministic data. So it's basically answering a question. Did this happen on that blockchain, yes or no? And then there's the Flare time series oracle, which we're going to get into next, which deals with probabilistic data. So to come to the conclusion of what is the price of XRP USD, there's multiple different exchanges, there's multiple different dexes. Where do you get the accurate price from? So they created a time series oracle. And this is another native technology built in to the Flare network, on top of it being just a layer 1 blockchain. Remember, 2 key pieces of technology that you need to know about with Flare are the state connector and the time series oracle. Captures the price of with the Flare time series oracle. Many decentralized systems still rely on centralized data feeds. This bakes in centralization to the systems using them. The FTSO leverages the distributed nature of the network to provide rapidly updating, accurate decentralized price data, such as the live XRP USD price, to applications on the network. So it's able to pull, right now, it has all the price feeds for the F assets and some more, but this is going to be able to scale up to hundreds, if not thousands, of probabilistic data price feeds in the future. And any application built on Flare is able to utilize these price feeds. And that's something powerful that applications now don't have to go out there and integrate with Chainlink, or integrate with Band, or have some centralized oracle that just pulls the price feed from Coinbase, and then when the API goes down, the whole DApp is out of whack. And price feeds are the core. The oracle problem is probably the biggest problem in all of blockchain and crypto. Nobody has really solved that yet. And even Vitalik has come out and said Chainlink has not solved it. Now, Flare is not competing with Chainlink. Chainlink can be even integrated into time series oracle or the state connector. So Flare is trying to connect everything. So they're not trying to kill Ethereum. They're not an Ethereum killer. They're trying to connect all the blockchains together. So we'll have dApps that will be on Flare to start, and then they will slowly integrate the layer cake protocol to be able to connect to other networks. So what's the rollout process? The Flare rollout process. We will validate each of the core Flare protocols on the Songbird Canary network before launching on Flare. The FTSO has been live on Songbird since September 2021, and the state connector since March 2022. When all components have been verified, we'll be ready to launch Flare. Target for 4th of July 2022. And we have gotten word recently that that is roughly when the Genesis launch will take place. So they're on schedule. Now, during the Genesis launch, there will not be an airdrop. And why is that? So this is not a delay. This is for the process to transfer the validation power from the Flare Foundation and Flare team. So their engineers are going to spin everything up. These are scientists, PhDs that have been working on this for years. For 5 years, they've been a research house building what is to be Flare. And that validation power for those initial validators is going to be transferred to the FTSOs, who are the time series oracle signal providers. They are going to be validators. Now, this transfer of validation power, how does that take place? It takes place by the vote power and the reward rate going to the FTSOs. So instead of using proof of stake, because Flare does not use the token Spark to secure the network, it doesn't have to, because it's able to use enhanced Avalanche's Snowman++ consensus to do this without using the token. And what does this do? This frees up the FTSO to reward everybody in the network. Anyone can delegate to the Flare time series oracle, to a signal provider, with their Spark tokens. You delegate a detachable vote at literally no risk to your token to be able to earn some of the native network rewards. So instead of earning block rewards for validations or mining rewards in mining, this replaces all of that and allows everybody to earn FLR. But even better is you could simultaneously delegate votes and utilize the value of your FLR tokens as a collateral in the Fasset system to mint Fasset rewards. That's where the utility is so powerful with Flare. And it's something other networks don't have. They have liquid derivatives of staking, but that's a derivative. Flare is in its native form. It's wrapped Flare. It's still native Flare. It's not a derivative. It's the native asset. And you're able to earn and simultaneously use the value. And then on top of that, you have a governance vote that's also detachable. So you have 2 detachable governance votes. 2 votes. One's governance, one is for the FTSO, that offer no risk way to vote for governance and earn FTSO rewards. That's very powerful, and you're able to then utilize your token too. So this is adding utility. This is what we call programmable value. This is like refactoring the value, because then you could go as far as when you earn those rewards for FTSO, you could have them allocated and sent to a different address to say crowdfund a project. And then you can revoke that when you want at no risk to your token or your value. And that's going to even add a new layer on, because once the community can crowdfund projects on their own, then the value stays within the system. There's been no private token sale and no public token sale of Spark. So moving on. Build truly interoperable dapps. The state, price, and information relay allows dapps to be built that coordinate users' actions across any set of connected chains. Flare uses this to develop the Fasset and layer cake bridges. What will you build? So this is perfectly designed for dApp developers to build new types of dApps, because they could pull in information from Web 2 and from other blockchains. So they could pull in information from Bitcoin. They could pull information in from the XRP Ledger. That's what allows the Fasset system to work as a collateral system, is what it is. So it could keep an eye in the sky on the accounts on the Bitcoin network and the XRP ledger and see if anything moves at any time. And it can also pull requests from any type of Web 2 data. And when I say Web 2, that's the whole internet. So any type of derivative, prediction market, betting market can be pulled for some application in the future. Any open API basically you can tap into. So this is a novel new system that no other network has. There's no state connector that another network has built in that has a layer 1. And it has also the time series oracle, which is probabilistic data. And then state connector, deterministic, where it's like a yes or no. Did this account amount in it drop or increase? It knows that. It could read it. Now, it doesn't download the whole state of the blockchain. It just observes. So the state connector is constantly observing every network that it is connected to. And it's able to do this by the attestation providers being able to run infrastructure on these other networks. So they're literally linked in to them. So what is the Fasset? That's something everyone is interested in, because this is something that you'll be able to now use your XRP, your Bitcoin, your Algo, your XLM, your Litecoin, your Doge, your Filecoin, and be able to use that in DeFi dApps on Flare. And even better, you earn a Flare daily reward just for minting your Fassets. Now, how are they able to do this? And how is this able to not even affect the price? Because Fassets are collateralized by Flare. So 2.5 times the value of that Fasset that you minted, Spark's value has to be backing that. And there's also the underlying asset that the agents hold. So you have this very low risk DeFi system built at the heart, and it has this decentralized oracle in the time series. So it provides the data for all these Fasset prices, because it needs to know the XRP USD price and then the Spark USD price to be able to manage that collateral position. And this is why this is very low risk, because it has an eye in the sky to see then, well, how much of the native asset then is held in the accounts on Bitcoin or on the XRP ledger. So Fassets, 2/3 of value of all blockchains is currently held in non-smart contract chains, which cannot participate in dApps, DeFi, NFTs, and more. With Fassets, Flare will bring smart contracts to connected chains, unlocking this value and welcoming these communities into the decentralized economy. And that's what they're building here, is a decentralized economy. So this is going to be a community governed network, which is going to have a liquid democracy. And the Fasset system is governed by the Spark holders. So it's a special type of application. It's a Spark dependent application, meaning that Spark holders govern the Fasset system. We govern the parameters that they're based on. We govern the different Fassets that are added. Flare is not going to be able, the team can't add things unilaterally. one of the first governance proposals, and hasn't come out yet at the time of this recording of this video, is going to be for the transfer of the governance power to the community. And Flare is a DAO. So it's a layer 1 with DAO-like governance. Now, it's not a DAO like the other things you see, like Compound and Aave and Maker DAO. Those are dapps. Flare's a layer 1, but it has the DAO-like governance built into it. So it's encoded in the network. Everything is transparent. The circulating supply, you'll be able to see everything. So when it comes to the disclosure of all different data, it's built into the code. It's all built in. And the community will have to approve different proposals, and we'll get more details on the governance system shortly. And Songbird, with a governance proposal that's coming, is going to be the lower house to Flare's upper house. So think like the House of Representatives would be Songbird. And then Flare is going to be the upper house, where the bigger decisions are made, like the Senate. So this makes a bicameral governance system. So it makes SGB, which is Songbird's native token, even more valuable, because that will make certain decisions in the Flare network, and you'll be able to earn a bounty in Flare. And we're waiting to get details on those. So those are to come. So stay tuned, and then we'll go through those. So what is Layer Cake? Layer Cake is a secure and scalable cross-chain protocol that solves some of the biggest problems inherent in bridging. It leverages Flare to safely and trustlessly bridge assets between any two smart contract layer 1s. Layer Cake also enables F assets to flow to any other smart contract chain. So Layer Cake is, over this period of time, from the time they didn't launch last summer in 2021 till now, they've been able to develop this Layer Cake system. So it's not like we're waiting around and nothing has happened. This is a very powerful system, probably one of the most powerful protocols that have ever built in all of crypto, because it's able to create the connection to 100 blockchains. Instead of building 4,950 bridges, which bilateral, which multi-chain and wormhole are all trying to do, and you have all these bilateral bridges, Flare is able to do this with 101 smart contracts. And this is going to be very powerful in the future, when dapps can connect to all these other blockchains by launching on Flare, and it's secured by Flare. So the transfers don't necessarily have to go through Flare, but it's secured by Flare. So Flare's consensus out the gate is going to be decentralized, but it's going to become even more decentralized and even stronger once they implement the Flare consensus protocol, which is coming in the future, which is the smart contract layer, where the state connectors, UNLs, will be tied together with the underneath Avalanche Snow++. But that's more technical, and we'll find out more details on that in the future. But what I'm trying to get at here is that there's a plan to connect everything together. They're not just saying that as a tagline, as just, oh yeah, we're going to try to do that. No, they have a plan and a way to do that. And this Layer Cake protocol allows for that. Everything behind the design of Flare is purposely built. So just the mechanism designs, by having the ability to earn FLR from the FTSO. So you earn from delegating your votes. And then you put up FLR as collateral, and you're able to earn those outside currencies. So being able to earn XRP, being able to earn Bitcoin, this gives it real economic value and utility, because now Flare, as collateral, is earning that. And how is it doing it? Because of the fees that are being paid by those who mint, who borrow collateral. And we're still waiting for some minor details on the dynamic collateral pool and agent system. So I'm not going to go too much further into that until we get it, but we will go over that absolutely as soon as the final details come out on that and the tokenomics. But moving on. So last piece here is Flare is a fast, low carbon, and low fee blockchain. Flare's consensus mechanism avoids energy inefficiency and value scaling challenges of proof of work and proof of stake, meaning you get fast, secure, and efficient transactions with very low gas fees. So this is also super important. Flare's gas fees are extremely low, and they're all burned. So nobody earns the gas fees. They're all burned. So that helps in decreasing the supply, which is good for the overall token economy of Flare, and it doesn't have to be limited. So in the future, when there's tens of billions and trillions of dollars on these blockchains, those proof of stake blockchains are going to be stressed, heavily stressed, because they're going to have to match the value that's staked to the value that's built on them. Flare will not have this problem. That's why they're able to scale up something like Layer Cake. You can't scale up Layer Cake and use proof of stake and some random token to secure it. And Layer Cake is an insurance protocol at its heart. So it's able to secure based on the bandwidth. And you're always guaranteed to get your value back. Same with the Fasset system. Whenever you mint Fassets, there's really no risk, because worst case scenario, you'll always get that value back in Spark. But redeeming, you'll get the native asset back. But worst case, if there was ever a stress on the system, you'll always have Spark there. So this is why it's very low risk, everything that they're building here. And this is really the power of the Flare network, and why we're so excited here at Mickey B. Fresh Patreon for the Flare network launch. And also Songbird. So Songbird is part of this ecosystem too, and so is SGB. So I welcome all of you to the Patreon group. We'll have a website called mickeybfresh.com as well, which is Web3 enabled. And we have a private Telegram group, which you could join below. And there's also 2 Zoom tiers. So we have the replay Zoom tier, and then we have the VIP Zoom tier. Now, twice a week, I host 2-hour Zoom calls. Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And these are available the next day then for replay. But they're interactive. We have a great group of people who have been in the group for over a year now, and we have some great discussions. And everything from low level to high level we discuss. But the forum is free. So if you feel like interacting and asking questions and you want to be at the forefront, join the VIP tier. If you're not going to be around for those days, and your time zones may be different or it doesn't work with your work schedule, then the replay tier, at least you get to see those then. We put those out the next day, and then you could rewatch those, and they come through as a private YouTube link that you could then just watch, and you could download yourself and keep. All right, so I welcome you, and we all look forward to the Flare Network launch, which is coming very soon. Depending on when you watch this, it could have already happened already, but these are very exciting times. But there's a lot of information to unpack here, and to really understand and strategize the best, you need to understand what the technology is and how it's being built and how it works. Then you could craft yourself a strategy. And everyone's in a different position. There's some people who didn't have XRP at the time of the snapshot, and we'll talk about the strategies for those people. And then there's some people who had just maybe some XRP at the time, and that has a different strategy. And then there's some people who had a lot of XRP at the time, and they're getting a lot of Spark. So all three will have different types of strategies. And we're still waiting on the details of this governance proposal to know how the treasury contract is going to work, because they are changing the distribution. You're going to get your initial 15%, and then you'll be able to move off the exchange and update your address to a new address. So this is exciting times, but it involves crafting a strategy that works for you. But to do that, you need to understand how to earn from the FTSO, how to delegate from the FTSO, how the Fasset minting works. There's going to be a self-minting, and then there's going to be a going through an agent, which you pay a fee, but then you don't have to manage any collateral. So how do you use those together to earn the most possible? It's not a binary decision of, should I self-mint or should I go through an agent? You want to kind of use both, but that's dependent on your situation, because you're going to be consistently earning Spark. So you want to set yourself up in a position. And Hugo has told us, and we're also well aware from just looking at the system, you're going to be massively rewarded for participating early in a network of this scale that has these abilities to offer these type of rewards. Remember, the foundation has 20 to 25 billion FLR, and then we have an inflation rate that can be directed to different reward service pools, even to the treasury contract possibly. So we shall see. So I welcome you all, and please join the private Telegram group, and feel free to reach out to me or any of the admins and ask questions. We are here to help the community. We are all in this together. We have been given the keys to the kingdom, and now it's our opportunity to take advantage of. And we will be the governance for the network. So that's another thing, is this idea of liquid democracy. This is something new to many of you and to myself too. This is not like some other DAOs that you snapshot and off-chain. This is all on-chain governance. So it's very interactive, and it involves you being a part of a community. That's what blockchains and cryptos are all about. They're not about Goldman Sachs. They're not about JP Morgan. They're not about some secret financial system. They're about you participating in that community. That's the core basis. There will be other community members like FTSOs, like validators, like attestation providers, like bandwidth providers, like dapps and DAOs that build on the network. They'll all be part of one big community. But we have the keys to the kingdom early because we're aware of this before everybody else. And now this is very high-tech technology, so it is very complex to implement. And we have the Songbird Network as the canary network to test on. And this is going to even give more benefits to the dapps that develop on Flare and then ultimately on Layer Cake as well, and connect out to Web 2 and to all the other blockchains. So I'm looking very forward to the Flare Network launch and the possibilities that there is for this community. So I welcome you.